Today is a fabulous day for foliage, so I thought it would be fun for us to create an all foliage arrangement. We'll be creating the arrangement today in one of our PSW containers. This is the PSW container from our friends at Arcadia Garden Products. And it again is a plastic container that is 100% post-consumer recycled plastic, stone, and wood. Okay, all of those things recycled into this great container. I love them because they're watertight, but you can also drill them on the bottom and use them as a planter outside. Today, we'll be using it for our beautiful arrangement that we're going to make from the Fabulous Foliage at FernTrust. We're going to do some interesting, fun foliage manipulation. And I'm also going to tell you a few things about the cool foliage that they have at FernTrust. So we've got a piece of foam inside there. It's our Midnight Foam from Oasis. We're just going to bevel the edges again because that makes it easy for us. Super simple. Just like that. And then we have plenty of area around the outside for water. We can fill it up with our water that's also been treated with Chrysal Professional 3. I love foliage. And I think it's a great opportunity. You know, FernTrust has over 124 different kinds of foliage that they distribute. At the same time, they have 11 farmers that are local farmers in the state of Florida that grow the different types of foliage. All of those are brought together at FernTrust where they're treated with the Fern Cool process, and then they're shipped out. It's a great opportunity for some of these little farmers to get big exposure and also be able to ship their products all over the United States. The American grown foliages that they have at FernTrust are just incredible. And leatherleaf is one of those foliages. So I'm really excited today because I have some cool stuff to show you. And I just love it. Okay, so first of all, look, I have some Fern Fronds. These are little baby ferns, right? And we're going to use those in our arrangement today. We're also going to use the leatherleaf, which looks like this. I like to call it Florida fern, but call it leatherleaf, people call it baker fern, all sorts of different things. We're going to use Xanadu, which is, I like to call it like a little cousin of Monstera, okay? And so it's great. I like the name too, because Xanadu, you remember, right? You know, that's awesome. We're going to use foxtail fern, one of my favorite foliages. I'm crazy about foxtail fern. I just like it. It's my rye, spring rye. Okay, so, and so I think that's going to be beautiful inside here. We have some variegated fatsia, okay? And just look at how pretty that is. It's just got a great little variegation that goes with it. We are also going to use some lilygrass. Looks like that. We are going to use some aspidistra foliage that looks like this. We're also going to use some tea leaves that look like this. We're going to use some galex leaves. We're going to put all of this in this beautiful arrangement, right? But as I told you, we're also going to show that we can do with the foliage. We're also going to be using some teppy, okay? And this is teppy foliage. Some people might call it palm fronds, things like that, but we're going to do some manipulation with this as well. So I think it's going to be fun for us to see all the fun different types of things. Oh, and you know what? My favorite, Monstera, okay? And Brendan Register, Jenna's son, is the grower of these beautiful Monstera leaves. And they come in several different sizes. They're small, medium, and large. And so those are the small ones that we're going to use today. So this is our arrangement that we're going to use and we're going to create in. So what I'm going to do is I want to show you some manipulations and I want to show you some things that are up close detail things. So we're going to start with some of the bigger things and do those first, and then we're going to come in close and I'm going to show you some really cool, interesting things. Okay? So we are going to start with our tea leaves. And this is one of my favorite techniques with a tea leaf. It's called window painting. And it's really cool and it's really easy to do. And so kind of the key to this is having a long thumbnail. Okay, I learned this technique from my friend Phil Rolota, and it really is helpful to have a longer thumbnail when you do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take my fingernail and I'm just going to break through the surface of this tea leaf, and I'm going to go down a little ways and stop before I peel it loose. Do it in another place like this. And I'm just going about an inch apart. And what this is doing is my fingernail's just splitting that tea leaf, right? Pretty cool. I'm just going to do it all the way up to the edge. Now, you see that tea leaf. It doesn't really look too much different until I pull it back. Isn't that wild? Look at that. Okay, shall we do it again? Okay, so again, we've got this tea leaf like this. I'm going to go down here at the very base. I'm going to stick my fingernail in there. Just going to pull it up to about there. Go up about an inch. Start again at the vein and go up to the outside. Start again at the vein. Go up. And I'm stopping just before it breaks the edge over here. Okay, another one. Another one. And one more. There we go. So then see, looks like a regular tea leaf. And then when I pull it down, we get that window painting. Isn't that fun? Okay. We're going to use a third one in this. So again, fingernail there. There we go. You'll become an expert at this. Ladies, if you have a fabulous manicure, you're going to be really good at this to start with. Because you've got those nice, great fingernails. And again, okay, so it looks just like a normal leaf. And then I pull it down and it window panes it. Okay, fine. So what we're going to do now is we are going to cut this. And we're going to put it in our arrangement here. And then we're going to cut this here. And we're going to put it in our arrangement right here. And then we're going to cut one and we're going to do it on the other side. Okay. So we've got it on two different sides. Now what I'm going to do, this is also important. I'm going to grab a little moss green pipe cleaner. Okay. And what I'm going to do with that pipe cleaner is I'm going to cut 3 pieces that are about 2 inches long. Okay. So I've got a 2-inch piece like this. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to bend it into a little hairpin shape. The reason that I'm using a pipe cleaner is because when I stick this into the Oasis, into the midnight foam that we're using down in here, it's going to adhere to it and it's not going to pull out. So then what I can do is I can take my window paned leaf and I'm just going to stick that through there and I'm going to pin it down to the foam nice and tight. See how it left it open and made it open up? Over here, same thing. I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to pin it in there. Okay, so that it opens it up. And this one, I'm going to do the same thing. And you know what? I wonder. There we go. Opening it up. Okay, so now look at this. Look at my arrangement. Look at how that looks. You know what? Just to help you see through there, I'm gonna step over here to this side. Look at the window painting here, and then the window painting. I'm gonna move over here and see the window painting over here with these two. Okay, see how great that looks? That's gonna be wonderful. All right, so now I'm gonna set this back here out of our way for half a sec. Okay, and we're gonna do another bigger form of manipulation with our teppy leaves. Okay, now there's a couple of cool things that you can do with this. One of them involves just using a scissors. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I can cut my teppy leaves like this into almost, it's going to make it look like stacked pineapples, kind of, right? Look at that. Really fun, right? We used to trim these all the time when I was a little kid. And it was just really interesting. Now, here's another thing, too. This is just a really fun thing as well because we have all this left over. Now, look at this. It's like a little piece of all all those pieces of foliage together in one spot. And I'm going to grab a little bit of bind wire. So I'm reusing and repurposing those pieces that we cut off. Okay. There we go. And so now I've got a little piece, almost looks like a Dracaena, right? Look at that. Look at how fun that is. Okay. Now, I'm going to take another piece of this, and this is where I'm going to move it up and get you closer, okay? So that you can see things a little bit closer. We're going to bring this up here. There we go. And we're going to bring you down at the table so you can see what's going on the table. Look at that. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of teppy and I'm going to fold it down. So see how I folded that down? And then I'm going to go over, under, over, under, over, under my other pieces of foliage. Look at that. Look at how that works. Do the same thing up here with this piece. I'm going to bend it down, over, under, over, under, over, under. Okay? So see, now I did one on both sides of that piece. Now I'm going to fold this here. Now notice how I'm going to fold it a little bit lower than the last one. And I'm going to go opposite of what I did the last time. So I'm like, it's like basket weaving, right? Okay. There we go. I'm going to do this one a little bit shorter. Fold it. Over, under, over, under. And I'm doing it opposite of the last one. See, so look at those now. See how they're opposite? Then I'm going to do it this one. Next one. Over, under, over, under. See? This is really fun. And it gives us a great result, which is really cool. Oops, there we go. Okay, like that. This one should be over. There we go. All right. There we go. Now we're going to go again. Over, under. And see, each time I do this, I have a little bit less that I have to do because it's shortening up. This actually really does look like a pineapple. Very cool. Okay. There we go. Third one over here. Over, under, like that. This one over here. Over, under. Like that. So over here. You could almost use this as a placemat. Wouldn't it be cool as a charger on a table? That'd be fun. Okay, and I'm going to fold over those last ones. Okay, now see how that looks folded like that and all very put together. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all these ends, oops, and I want to bring them together. I'm just going to bring them down here so that they're all together in one spot. That's important. They're all down here together in one spot. And I'm going to use a piece of my bind wire again. Right here, a little short piece of that. And I'm just going to tie it around there. So see how I caught all those ends together and I gathered everybody up so that they could be all together there in one spot. Okay, and now look at that on this side. Look at how cool that looks. Looks like a pineapple, right? Very cool. Okay, so I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. Let's do one more, okay? And we are going to do this one. And I'm going to grab one piece of this. Okay, we are going to work with the back side of this. And to make this work out well and do well, what I need is I'm just going to use a little bit of my anchor tape. Typically, you can go to my website and you can see I have a video about this there. But somebody posted a remark the other day that said, I talked about this being just like French braiding. And they were like, I don't know how to French braid. So could you give us a better tutorial? So I was working on this because typically I would do this with this in between my legs. So what I've done is I've taped it down so it's nice and secure. Okay. And then we're going to start back here at this end. So with French braiding, what happens is we take 3 pieces. And with those 3 pieces, we cross one over the top, and then we cross another one. Another one over. So, okay. Bringing one piece down, we're going to cross one piece over the top. Then we're going to bring another piece down and cross that one over the top of the last one. So you'll see we've got 3 pieces there, and those 3 pieces are crossed over one another. And what we're going to do is we're going to cross over the 3rd piece and match it up with this one. And we're going to add another one at the same time. Then we're going to bring this one up and put it over this side. Okay. And then we're going to cross those across one another. Then we're going to bring in another one. Oops, I got to come from the other side, this side, and bring that over and cross them. So now you have these extra pieces. And it is truly French braiding because each time you've got 3 units together. When you braid, you're just bringing in another piece. Okay, bringing in another piece. Now you can do this with big areca palms. You can do it with a teppy. I've tried it with the Robolini. I love the Robolini, and we're actually going to use a couple pieces of Robolini in our arrangement today because it's one of the fabulous foliages I am just in love with from FernTrust. But again, but for some reason, the Robolini has a little jagged edge on it. And because it has that little jagged edge, it wants to undo itself when we're doing this method. And so I just want to let you see this. Now, again, if you want to go to my website, ubloom.com, and check out, you can go to ubloom.com/braid a palm leaf. And that will take you right to that tutorial, and you can watch it many times as you want. Okay. I learned this from Phil Rolota many years ago. And I do it a lot at my live shows because people love it. I mean, it's a fun way to manipulate palm leaves and make them look impressive. And it takes a little bit of practice. I've done it for many, many, many years, so I know how it takes a while. What I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to pull this up now and then see what that looks like. It's actually, some people call it a nautilus shell. And again, so I'm pulling it down. See how I pulled it down and that made it curve a little bit? And then I'm going to grab a piece of my craft covered wire again, and I am going to attach it around there like that to hold it all very tight and very snug. If you do not make it snug, it's not going to hold. Okay, so we have this, we have this, we have this, and we have this that are going to be able to go in our arrangements. Okay, now let's look at our galex leaves for half a second, because what we're going to do is we're going to make a little galex rose with our galex leaves for our arrangement. And I got all my little pieces of tape and stuff in here. You need to get rid of all that. Okay. All right. So we're going to start with a nice big piece, a big galex leaf. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to roll it. Okay. And that's going to form the center. Now you can roll it inside or you can roll it outside. You can do whichever you want. So some people like to have the outside piece on there, and that's okay if that's what you like. Perfect. Good for you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off about a yard or so of this craft covered wire. So I've rolled that into that shape, and I'm going to take my craft covered wire, I'm going to lay it down there, and then I'm going to tie it around here. And I'm leaving it attached, okay? Then I'm going to take 2 more of these beautiful galex leaves, and I'm just going to fold it around there and wrap it. And I'm going to put one on the other side, and I'm just folding it. Okay? And then I'm going to wrap it in place. And see, it might even tear through the leaves. That's okay. Because what we're doing is we're fabricating the center of our rose shape. We're going to make this into a galex rose. And then it simply just starts to be adding leaves around the outside. See, and I'm going to take this again, and I'm just holding those up close and tight there, and then I'm wrapping that around. And see how it starts to look like a rose? There's no real formula for this per se. I mean, it just kind of starts to go together, and it's just going to look great. I'm just adding those on the other side. I can kind of see my attachment on this one side over here, so I'm just going to slip in a couple of other leaves to kind of push that up, and then wrap around the back side nice and tight. So that I can just fit it around there like that. And look at that. Pretty little rosette, right? Also, you can go to ubloom.com, and there is a tutorial for that as well. Okay. So now I've got this on here. I just need to make a little loop and make sure that I have it nice and secure, so that when I get to the back side over here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the stems like that. Okay. All right. So now I think we're ready to start our arrangement. So I'm going to back you up again so that you can see this in. Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. I'm not, because I have one more thing to show you. So look at these. These are fern fronds. These are little baby ferns. And the fern fronds, they cut them off of the plant. So you want to know where baby fern fronds come from? I'll show you. Okay, let's take a look at that. So this is where these guys come from. When our fern is growing, what happens is on the back side, and this is happening right now, this time of year, we start to get these, see those little dots on there? I don't know if you can see them. There's little tiny dots on the back, and they're all lined up on the back of the leaves. That's the forming of the spores. It's like the seeds, right? Isn't that amazing? And they look like little dimples right here on this one. They kind of are like little tiny dimples on there. So cute. So then, as they mature, they start to get bigger. Look at that. They start to get bigger and have a little bit bigger dimple in them. And what's happening is that spore is maturing so that it can make little baby fern. And finally, when it matures, it looks like this. Okay, now you can see those. Look at, they're darkening up on the back. Isn't that amazing? I just love it. Look at them. They're all on the back of this. And those are the spores. That's how ferns reproduce. That's the coolest thing, because ferns aren't like other types of foliage. You know, they don't come from a cutting or they don't come from a seed pod. They come from a spore. And a fern forms spores on the back of the leaves. So at different stages, you know, little tiny dots, then to bigger dots that are a little bit bigger. And then finally, as they start to mature, they turn into these little black dots. And those black dots then have the spore. Then the spore floats away, it lands on the ground, it germinates, and then it creates little baby fern fronds so that we can start the process all over again, so that we can have these beautiful, beautiful fern. Now, look at also, what's interesting to me is, look at the color of this fern, okay? It's a little bit lighter, and then it gets a little bit darker, and then here, it's hardened off, and it's really lush, and it's really green. That's the important part about this is part of the process. And I know some people are like, oh, I don't want those. Well, you know, that's almost impossible because that's how this fern reproduces. If we didn't have these, we wouldn't get these. It would stop. So it's all part of it. You know, it's like a sunflower. I think about that. That sunflowers, the center of the sunflower is the seeds. And that's where we get the seeds for the next generation of sunflowers. This is where we get the seeds for our next generation of fabulous Florida foliage. It's perfect. Okay, so now let's create our fabulous foliage arrangement using our foliage from FernTrust. I'm going to back you up a little bit. There we go. And we're going to go there and there. And then we're going to look right up there. Oh, see, you got to see the bottoms of everything, of all the stuff there. All my secrets, right? Okay. Oh, we're a little high. We're a little high. There we go. How about that? That might be better. Ah, perfect. Okay. So we are going to work on our turntable. Still a little high. Sorry. Should be able to see good. There we go. That's going to be better. And here is our PSW container that we started with. It has our tea leaves in it. Okay. Now this is going to be an arrangement that we can set on a dining room table. We could put it on an end table. It could sit on a coffee table. And it's foliage. So the other thing that's really cool about this is it's going to last for weeks. You know, if you want, I love, there's a video on You Bloom right now about the fabulous foliage bouquets that we're doing for the J's Bouquet line with FernTrust, which is very interesting as well. They're bouquets that you can add to a vase and add flowers to them, or they can stand alone. Because that's the cool thing about foliage. It can stand alone. So many textures, so many different types, and with 124 different varieties, we certainly can have a lot of different things going on. So we are going to start with a couple of our fatsia leaves right here. Some people say that they look like a hand, and I think that that's kind of true too. They kind of look like that as well. And we're going to put one of those up here like this. And then we're going to put another one back here on this side like that. Okay. Then I need a monstera leaf, right? And there is a little prize one. Look at that. Look at how pretty that one is. That's just perfect. I want to have a monstera leaf. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it up higher and taller. Okay, so it's not sitting on the edge of the container. Look at how we've got different levels happening in there already. Very cool. Now, let's grab a couple of our interesting manipulated foliages that we have. We have this one, of course, that looks like it's a little fuzzball of Dracaena, but that's just our stems from our teppy. That goes there. We are going to use our pineapple. I'm going to put it front and center right here. Okay. We have our other one that looks like this. We're going to put that back here. And then we're going to spin this around and look at, I'm going to mirror this grouping with my two window paned ones with my nautilus shell shaped woven teppy leaf. Look at that. right? Look at how great that's starting to look. Really pretty, really pretty. Okay, so now this was the other palm that I was telling you about, Robellini. One of my favorites. Look at it. It's just so pretty. And it's got a little, and it has that look as well of a true palm leaf. And so we're going to use a little bit of that back here, and I'm going to do a little grouping. I'm going to use 3 pieces of that Robellini back here. And that's going to give us a nice basis for that area. Now, I think our little rosette is going to be perfect right here in the center of our bouquet. Because when people look down inside our bouquet, they're going to see that rosette right down inside there. That's going to be really helpful. Okay. And your Robellini many times too comes in a little bag like this. And I highly suggest, if you're going to have it around, drop it down inside that bag again. And the stems come out the bottom end like this. And then that fits up over the top like that. And then you can hold on to it and it's going to last longer. Okay. Great way to do that. Now here is our foxtail fern. So we are going to add our foxtail fern in the middle of our arrangement, coming back to this side a little bit more. We are going to reinforce that one more time here with one more piece like that. Ooh. This is what I love about the Oasis flower foam, is that it allows me to make precision and specific placements in the exact spot I want them. And that's super important when we're creating something like this, okay? Is that we want those pieces and parts to be in exactly the right place. Now, we are going to add a couple pieces of our Xanadu. All right, look at the Xanadu. Beautiful. Okay. And so, again now, I want to have this Xanadu stand up in my arrangement. And I want it to appear like it's doing something. And I like that it fills in there. And I'm going to hide one more piece back here. Another piece of interest coming out from by our foxtail fern. Look at that. So great. Now, let's add a couple of our Fern Fronds, because I love that little baby. And you know what's really interesting about these? I love them. I have used them in other arrangements before, and it's really cool, because what will happen with them is that they will start to unfurl. Yeah, I know, right? They're like a little baby fern, and so they're going to open up, and they're going to be part of the arrangement, and it's going to be part of the experience. So just as you might have a flower open, you will maybe Fern Fronds open up. And there we go. We're going to go here. I want these to be in the center of the arrangement so that you see them immediately and they're in exactly at the center. Okay. Now, I have got some Florida fern, my fabulous Florida fern, or leatherleaf, baker fern, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And I like it because it adds so much texture to the arrangement. So look at how it's going to look right down inside here. I like to have that fern shape. We call it an apical dominant shape because it's shaped like a Christmas tree. Okay. And so slipping this in between, and you know what? Every piece of Florida fern is apically dominant. So not only is this piece apically dominant, but all of the little fronds are as well. Each frond is apically dominant. And that's wonderful. So I'm going to grab this here. And I see a spot down inside here where I need to have that go right there. And I'm going to put one more. This starts to make our whole arrangement look like we were able to lift a piece of FernTrust out of the ground and right into our arrangement. I just love it. Love it. My little cute little rosette down inside there. Look at how that looks. This is stunning. It's really stunning and really, really fun for us. Now, again, we can have a lot of texture. And so I said we were going to use some of our aspidistra leaves as well. So I'm just going to grab a couple of those. And I'm going to show you a real easy trick with this that helps add a bit of relief to our arrangement. Because when we see a smooth texture like this, it's a place for our eye to rest. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the stem short, and then I'm going to poke that stem through the leaf. And what it does, it makes a little loop like this that I can tuck right down into my arrangement. And so now you can see right there that I have that piece of relief in there. We're going to do it one more time again. Take the end, I cut it sharp so I can poke it right through the leaf. And then I pull the leaf up around so I've got a little rounded loop like that. And then I'm going to slip that down in tight at the base of my arrangement to give me that little loop in one spot. I need one more. Okay. And we are going to cut this short, bring it around, poke it through there. And then I'm going to tuck that right under my monstera leaf. Nice and tight. So look at that. Now look at that all foliage arrangement. Really, really beautiful, really stunning. And so much interest involved in it. Now, if I wanted to, and I'm going to do this for you because I think it's going to make it show up differently. Right now, everybody has kind of a matte finish. Everybody's been treated with the Dewy Fresh system from the Dewy Fresh process from our friends at FernTrust, which means that these are going to last longer and they're going to last, you know, as I said, probably 2 weeks. And the cool part is though, that they have a matte finish. If I want it to be shiny, I can use a little bit of my Chrysoleaf Shine. And what this does is it gives a reflective quality to all of my foliages. Front and back. Again, the thing I love about this is the Leaf Shine from Chryso is 100% pure vegetable oil process. And so it's good for the flat, it's good for the foliage. It makes them look great. Everything is really, really beautiful. Gives everybody a little more reflective quality. Look at that reflection that we get off of there. That's really pretty. So now we have a beautiful foliage arrangement that we can put. Now, if you want to add flowers to it, sure, go ahead. But why? You know, I mean, you can if you want to. But I think an all foliage arrangement like this is something that's different and unique and something that we can utilize. So I hope you love the techniques that we showed to you today. I hope you loved learning more about the little baby fern fronds and the spores that are on the back of the leaves. I love that. This is the time of year that that's happening, and that's just a cool addition, I think, to when we're creating things. And I hope you had fun with foliage today, because that's what our friends at FernTrust help create for us with their fabulous foliage, over 124 different varieties. And so we can make a beautiful arrangement like this that's just stunning. So until next time, keep having fun with foliage.